Challenger tactical buckshot, 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge, rated at 1,300 feet per second, non-pellet double-aught buck, 10 yards. Substantially more sound, but not substantially more recoil, thanks to this recoil reducing pistol grip. All right, so might as well put a new target up there. Nah, we'll conserve. All right, so margin of error because I probably missed one. Because that shot cup impacted, we'll call it 21. Yeah, we'll call it 21. Nearly 80% effective. I'll tell you what though, this Steiner, going back to that, pretty impressive. I like it. Nice low profile tack light. Still works. These load nice and smooth. I like that. And there's, you can still see a little bit of play compared to the other ones. So yeah, nice and smooth load on these Challenger tactical buckshot. Still got the 9 pellets. Still got a little bit more oomph. Yet manageable. I may have rushed that shot. A lot more sound signature, for sure. All right, let's go check it. So 14, no question. Might have a little overlap on some of these, but yeah, 14, 15. That is awesome. Tactical Challenger Tactical, you make a good product. Yeah, so far that's my number one. See how it does at 50. Non-pellet, double-aught, rated at 1,300 feet per second. That's a real party pooper. For those of you who don't get that reference, in Kindergarten Cop, the one guy, probably a drug head, I don't know how they depict him, I forget, saw it in the theater. But yeah, in Kindergarten Cop, the guy in the beginning asked Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm the potty pooper." And he pulls out a little shotgun like this. The druggie goes to run, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, with what I assume was attempting to do an extrajudicial killing, shoots and the whole couch just goes flying back. Real dramatic scene for a kid's movie. Man, I miss the 90s. 50 yards. Let's really take a little time here. It's a hit. Another hit. Definitely a hit. All right, 50 yards. Challenger tactical buckshot. Butt shot. You know what? I take back all the shit that I talked about tactical sheepdog. You're an alright dude. Got a lot of NFA items, which means you're willing to be patient with the federal government. Call yourself tactical sheepdog, which means you're probably a service member. Much respect, my friend. Thanks for suggesting this. I might actually subscribe to your channel. Four. I'd take it. 50 yards. This little pipe. That's a lot to ask for, man. Yeah. 4 double-aught buck. If that fucker ain't dead, he ain't happy. That's from Major Payne, another kid's movie from the 90s. All right. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. That's the stuff. 16 bucks. That's economical as well. Challenger. All right, so Federal. Much more traditional in presentation. This is the triple-aught buck. Let's give that a cycle. Alright, so triple-aught buck, rated at 1325, 8 pellet. So we're looking at a possibility of 24 rounds on target. Yeah, not too much more substantial as far as recoil goes. Definitely acceptable. Can't really go wrong with Federal. I'd say the sound signature was actually less, a little bit more muffled it seemed, to the Challenger. But at the end of the day, hits count. That's a near miss. But 1, 2, you can tell the holes are bigger. 16 for sure, without a doubt. Maybe somewhere near 18. We completed our grouping there at 10 yards. Pretty reasonable. Now we're going to stretch it out to 20, see what we got going on here. All right. Definitely got some positive hits there. Not a wrist breaker, but powerful. Of course, that tames it. I said that ahead of time. Let's go see what we got. GoPro, stop recording. Yeah, the battery on that one's sitting at 36%. All right, so out of 24 possible projectiles on target, at 20 yards, we got 1 for sure. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mediocre performance. 7 for sure. Nope, 8 for sure. Like that. Possibly, yeah, that's 9. That's 9. All right, so 9 for sure out of 24. About a third. 50 yards. Federal triple-aught buck, 8 pellets. Might have pulled that one to the right. GoPro, stop recording. One hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. Got a little jugular there. All right, 3 hits on the target with as many on paper, but I'm going to call it only hits. So, marginal performance, 1/8 of the pellets on target. It'll get there, it'll hit, but it will not hit with any accuracy or regularity. And who's to say how large that pattern is? What I would have to do, in fact, you know what? I got a shot shell left from the Federal. GoPro, start recording. Alright, so I got one more shot shell left from the Federal triple-aught buck. And I just came up with a little idea. The concept didn't occur to me earlier. But take a real stable and steady shot, just one shot out there. Analyze the pattern. Definitely hit the target. I'll go analyze that pattern and see how many of those rounds hit and how large the diameter of the grouping is. GoPro, stop recording. Can't really gauge it. So I was aiming center mass, 8 pellet triple-aught buck. We got a round up here. We got a round down here. So, two shots spread out by exactly 2 feet. Aiming here, center mass, 16 inches, 10 inches. So you could expect, I would just say, a 4-foot spread from point of aim to the perimeter of your impact. Well, that concludes the shotgun. So what I'll do now is I'll do some 25 ACP work, and then I'll do a tabletop. All right, without going into too much detail on analytics, because I really didn't, I mean, I could go back through the video and I could, you know, do scale, and I could, you know, gauge, because it's a known size target, and I can actually recreate patterns, you know, from here, just by observing the video and then placing you know, just, you know, marker marks on the target, and I could say this is the pattern that I obtained, and it was this many inches in diameter, and, you know, it was this much percentage. But you know, I think the video speaks for itself, and I really don't have to beat it up that much. Most people get bored with those details anyways, so just straighten away this Challenger tactical buckshot, 12 gauge, 2 3/4, 1300 feet per second, 9 pellet, double-aught buck. That was the one, in my opinion, that performed the best. It loaded well. There's you know, pretty good quality of manufacture on these rounds. They're nice and smooth. There's no noticeable bulges. Well, there's a slight bulge, but it's nothing that would impede, you know, when you think about how smooth these shells are, it's nothing that would impede the feeding or the cycling. And they fit with, you know, the proper compression of the magazine tube spring that you would expect from a 2 3/4 inch shell. Whereas the Royal Buck, it had very noticeable bulges on the outside. It was horrible with the loading in the magazine tube. There were points where I had it hanging out about 1/8 of an inch. I commented on it casually in the video, but there's a B-roll footage where, while I'm loading this, I notice how tight it is in the magazine tube, and I'll plug that in at the end of this video session, and I'll show you, because it's not that it's embarrassing. I don't, you know, if my manual of arms is shoddy, or I forget to put it on fire, or, you know, I get in a rush, you know, those things happen. That's true. But I annexed it from the immediate footage because it just seemed like, you know, it was stalling time. But if you've hung on to this point, and I broke it up into 2 parts, you'll understand that, you know, that your time is what you give yourself, and my time putting in here is what I give you. So at the end of the day, yes, the Challenger buckshot, tactical buckshot, was the best. As far as patterning goes, I really did like the Royal Buck, but for this shotgun in this application, it's unnecessary. The triple aught buck from Federal, the Power Shock or Power Shot, whatever it's branded as, 1,325 feet per second, triple aught buck. Those are 36 caliber balls. More is better. When you have 9 pellets, you know, your hit ratio goes up at least 1 pellet more in double aught buck. When you have 8 pellets of triple aught buck, and you're talking about such a short barrel with such an erratic pattern, you're not getting any kind of maximum effectiveness at anything beyond 10 yards. Most, and this is a statistic, and typically I hate quoting statistics that are overquoted when I've experienced pretty much a little, you know, when my personal experiences are different. I don't surmise all the averages of a statistic. I know that there's latitude involved in them, but you know, the anecdote is that in a combat environment, in an urban combat environment, most of your engagements are within 7 yards, and then you have the rule of 21 and a guy with a knife and blah 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 blah, and all these police stats and all these war stats. Even at that point, I would rather go with the Aguila mini shells over a triple aught buck, because when you're talking about, you know, multiple projectiles, you know, what was it, 36 overall, so 12 each shot. Yeah, so if you're looking at 12 every time you fire that weapon system, and you're talking about a close quarter engagement, that'll get it done. But having to augment your weapon system with that mini clip, now if you have to go to a more traditional 2 3/4 or 3-inch shotgun shell, you're SOL. You got to pull that thing out, and you know, at that point you might as well lose it. There goes, you know, who's to say, you know, what $12 is. It's definitely worth less than your life. But I would not deliberately stake my life on anything operating using those Aguila mini shells. Yeah, you get one more round, and I did say more is better, but you know, again, here comes a statistic. If the majority of home invasions that are thwarted by a shotgun involve 3 rounds, you know, 3 to 5 actually, but if they involve 3 rounds, and that's a 3-round pump shotgun, and it's easy to wield in close quarters, I'd rather go with something in 2 3/4 buckshot, and it's going to be these. Who can't, right? That just popped right out. Didn't even chamber. That's weird. Oh, that's snug. Oh, we got a spring issue here. You know, sometimes this cold weather plays havoc on a firearm. A little misshapen, actually. Might cause a hang up in the cylinder.